like and subscribe. What are normal things you've been shamed for because you're a woman? For instance, hairy armpit, boob sweat. Once back in school, when I was like 16 or 17, I was on my period, so I went to the toilet. And I reached in my backpack first and grabbed a folded maxi pad. Backpacks stayed in class. And on guy said laughing, had a raw pad. That is so gross. I just responded with, oh no, I have normal body functions, how horrible. And I just ignored that kid and went to the toilet without giving any more S. I never gave a and I never will. No way I was going to be one of those girls who took their heavy backpacks to the toilet to hide a pad. Having body hair, arms, armpit, legs, pubes, pretty much any hair that didn't grow from my scalp. Having sex, not having sex, masturbating, swearing, not knowing how to make coffee despite never drinking the having a slightly deeper voice than my peers when I was a teen, having small boobs, having big boobs, eating too much, and ladylike. Eating too little, ugh, typical woman, too worried about getting fat, liking nerdy, even accessible popular nerd stuff like Star Wars, not wanting kids, not wanting to hear the opinions of every man who happens to stumble across something I said online. It never stops. 1. Sitting with my legs open, wearing pants long. 2. Having a pixie cut and shoulder length hair. 3. Farting. 4. Queefing a mayo like sorry you. Ed me hard, if you cannot handle it leave the bedroom. Being too muscular DDD. I was like, oh really? Then next gym session, I trained even harder lol. One time my aunt said something along the lines of how can you have so many stretch marks when you're so skinny? I was 14. I had just gone from 5'4" to 5'8" in like a year. Of course I had stretch marks. I mean, I know it isn't normal for every teen, but there's nothing wrong with them. Thanks a lot Brooke though for giving me a deep-seated insecurity that lasted almost 10 years. I got my period pretty early at 12 and also started getting hairy legs, but my mom would not let me shave. It was a tough year. I am from Greece, so by June you kinda have to wear shorts unless you want to melt. I wore white shorts when my period came while I was at school. The whole class was brutal. They completely berated me for the red spot in my shorts and the hairy legs. As if that was not enough, I brought party invitations that day and had to give them to everyone. The girls ripped my invitations in front of me saying they wanted to be associated with a bloody hairy creature like me. Luckily my grandpa came to school the next day and raised absolute hell. He made my party super fancy and invited the families of colleagues from his businesses. It was awesome, and he let me not go to school for a week. For not wanting to have children D. Also for being heavily tattooed. Somehow it's acceptable for men, but not for women. Weird. My periods. My muscles. I have had men try to physically take plates off my bar and hand me smaller plates. I take the smaller plates and add them on with the bigger ones, and I crack out some bears. Having my tubes tied. How dare I not consider the opinions and feelings of my future husband? Having small boobs. I do not shave above my knees. The hair is really light and fine, and I do not see the need, especially since it itches like crazy, if I shave it. Was on a date with a guy once. I was wearing a short skirt. He pointed at my legs and said, "Wow, so nice to see you decided to shave for me." Clearly it did not go anywhere with him, but he was the definition of toxic masculinity. That was only one example of his red flags lol. Shave for me D. Some men really think everything we do is about slash for them. Swearing. As in, men don't like women who swear. No offense, but I don't give a. Having sex. Not wanting to have sex. Cellulite. My mom always loves to point out when I have a pimple or a red spot on my face. Also, I remember a boy pointing out my cellulite back in 6th grade, asking why I had dents in my leg. Edit because I remembered more. / my dad freaked out because I had my period and there was blood in the toilet, but I didn't flush because someone was in the shower and I forgot to go back and flush when they were done. I was 12 or 13 for reference. / my friend once said I always had stubble on my legs. I have dark hair, she's a natural blonde, so I guess when her leg hair grows back, it's not as noticeable. Not sitting through lawyer. For playing her like a boy. For growing body hair too early. For thinking her like a teenage boy which apparently caused puberty. For having shapeless costumes not fit, right because I had boobs. List goes on. So many things. Being a feminist. Having boobs. Having no cleavage. Showing too much cleavage. Having a vagina. Having hair. Smiling. Not smiling. Wearing fitted clothes. Wearing baggy clothes. Considering buying glasses that were for men. Having an opinion. Being a virgin. Not being a virgin. Having long hair, and therefore being vain. Liking and wearing makeup. Not wearing makeup. For being tall. I was called Amazon a lot in my teens and 20s. I would say something to the effect of insecurities much, or stop being jealous I got height. I'm only 6 foot tall. Lots and lots of boys couldn't see past it. It's a shame as I was an equal opportunist when I was dating, and never saw height as an issue. There are insane numbers of guys complaining about women only want guys 6 feet tall, but they would not consider dating girl taller than, or even their height, because women wear heels. Being horny, howdy having body hair, having strong opinions, working as a scientist. Not shaving my legs, and not sitting like a lady. What haven't I been shamed for is the better question. Having a freaking brain. Seriously. Guys don't like smart women, it intimidates them. Excuse me, 1950 called, and I hung up. Arguing, saying no, body hair, prioritizing comfort / style with clothes, talking openly about periods. Semicolon. Edit, forgot not smiling egg. Liking, well really only looking at Hot Wheels in a shop, they are not for girls, young lady. For carrying a backpack instead of a handbag. This is the most bizarre. For not wearing makeup. Many times this has happened. For being interested in maths and science. Not being in a relationship, not having kids yet, owning a house, a guy's going to be intimidated by that. Owning a house. I am screwed in dating, since I just got the house D. For not wanting to have children. People do not hesitate to give their opinion, negative, making me feel like I am not fulfilling my duty. I have a stepkid and the mother is at war with me, because I exist, and a coworker said to me at hers, because you do not have a kid, she thinks you want to steal hers. So you just have to have a kid of your own and she'll leave you alone. WTF. And another man once said we are lucky all women do not think like you. How thoughtful. The not wanting to have kids thing seems to get people wound up. It's weird. Yes, I don't want kids. No, it doesn't make me less than other women. Toe hair. Yes, I have a few small hairs on my toes that I don't even notice, but to my first boyfriend they were hobbit feet. He claims his mom and sister must shave them. I was so confused I ended up asking other friends and coworkers if they shave their toes. It was weird. Not sure if it fits here, but dude on Reddit tried to shame me for being cautious towards men, and not giving any dude my attention and time just because he's male. According to him women are responsible for all men feeling lonely and desperate. So any woman who treats unknown man with suspicion, and doesn't give him attention he wants, is guilty of making interactions between women and men worse. Also women should compliment guys they don't like to make situation better for men, even if that makes women uncomfortable, or puts them in dangerous situations. According to him, man's feelings are more important than woman's feelings and safety. I was really bloated when taking oral BC, so I was shamed for being chubby, even though I was below my ideal weight. So I started working on auto vertical bar, and then was shamed for wanting to look like a man. Not wearing bra, so my nipples are visible. I think it's our own choice. I stopped wearing bras a few years ago, and I'll never go back. Took me a while, about 6 months honestly, to get used to it, because I was raised with the whole girls have to hide themselves attitude. I have had 2 disgusting experiences about it. A teacher called me out for giving a presentation with clearly visible nipples, and tried to shame me in front of the entire class, and I went on a blind date once, and the guy texted me, afterward, "You did not wear a bra for me, so hot." Blech, gross. I am a woman. It is easier to answer what I have not been shamed for. Having bigger thighs/butt, I've been ashamed and sexualized because of them since I've been goo. 6 years old, I can't wear shorts at all cause I'm always afraid someone is gonna try to touch me again. I've had my butt and thighs smacked so many times and am genuinely tired, and I'm still a minor. Why is our society like this? Dark armpit, darker bikini line and many necklines. Not being fit enough, not having a style, being boring because I can be shy and introverted, being too passive or soft yet too stubborn when I have boundaries. Almost as if they only want me to be passive when it serves them. I can't remember the last time I directly criticized someone's personality or pushed their boundaries, yet people love to do it to me and other women. Having pubic hair. I had a guy pretending he was not feeling well when he saw my public hair. He was trying hard to not touch them with his mouth, then decided to fake stomachache. Had an ex tell me how disgusting pubes are while he sat there with a big natural bush. You are take your non-C double standards away, Satan. Having a hair or 2 on my toes. You little sister. Body hair, other than on my scalp, eyebrows and eyelashes, being on my period/bleeding down there, swearing/cursing, and ladylike hairstyles, having masculine interests/or BSO vertical bar. I could go on, but I'd rather not ponder on how my existence triggers some people, lol. Politely not trying food, just because someone else thinks I will like it. Wearing certain colors and patterns on my work clothes, when my employer didn't have a problem with my doing so. Changing my hair color or the style of my glasses. Armpit hair, check. Leg hair, check. Cutting my head hair short, check. Not wearing makeup. I could never go outside without foundation. Whatever works for you, boo, but that's not me. For having a sexual armpit-toe vertical bar. I have had several boyfriends complain that I had too much of a sex drive vertical bar dd. Just happened to my girlfriend yesterday. She was in the park minding her own business when an old lady came up to her and told her that she didn't look like the kind of girl who would/should have tattoos, and that she didn't think it looked good on her. Like what? GF was angry all evening and this interaction totally ruined her day. Women to women shaming is definitely a thing and I'm not here for it. Growing up as a black girl into a black woman, especially in the South, is just full of shame. As a preschooler, I was too dark to play with some of the white kids. As a child, I was shamed for having dark, full bodily hair and thick eyebrows so much that I started shaving before I even actually hit puberty. My grandma would shame me for laughing along with my male cousins because girls should not be goofy. I was always rounder, so that meant being shamed for my body by family and friends. And don't get me started on my natural talking voice or my love for laughter. Girls should be seen but not heard. But when I'd try to be quiet, or I was shy, because I was so used to being insulted, I came across as rude and standoffish. Then puberty came. When I got my first period, my mom asked me if it was really because I had messed around with her son's friend. I was 11. When I wore baggy clothes to hide my developing body, it meant I hated myself, and I probably was self-harming. But if I wore anything with a v-neck or a short hem, I was showing too much, and was seen as a slut. If I let myself get harassed and groped, I was okay with people my age, but constantly monitored and shamed by adults. But if I stood up for myself and said no, I was bullied by my peers, and called ugly by the same people that had felt me up. After all, my lips were too big, and if I did not stay out of the sun, I got too dark. When I was groomed at 14, and told my grandma, still thinking I had just had a summer fling, she called my job and they fired me instead of helping me. All my life I have always just been too much, or too little of something, and I am struggling now with a therapist to work through all of this. I have been made to feel so much shame around my body and the person I am, and it has made me into this reckless victim, and I hate it. I feel like I spent most of my life regretting being born the way I was. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.